Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, November is going to be a busy month with shows.
Yes, it is.
And but this one has an intriguing title, Finding Your Swing. And some people think, they're going to tune in and listen to a golf show. Well, in part they will. But it's really about the, there's so many analogies about golf and life. Mm-hmm. And people who love golf and play golf, even many of the pros, will always talk about the crossover from the golf game and what it teaches you about your character and the trials and the travails and the tribulations and life. We get bumped in the road sometimes. We make double and triple bogeys, and how do we come back? And it's a show about transitions. It's a show about finding your golf swing, and then all of a sudden, losing it. And in life, we get on a road, and we start marching down that road. And sometimes we come up with obstacles that we were not anticipating, and we make shifts. And you've heard me enough over the years to know that I'm a big fan of people who pivot, who transitionalize, who make changes in their life and add chapters to a book that they didn't know or plan to ever make. So we're being joined today by Nick Marshburn, who purchased a home here, I want to say 2017, and moved into the Knollwood area with his family and made a life decision, a lifestyle decision for his family and for his career, but to be based in the Pine Needles area of Southern Pines. And we're going to talk to Nick about his restoration of the home, which is near and dear to my heart because I love restoring the old homes in the best neighborhoods. And we're also going to be speaking with the head pro at Pine Needles, Tyler Yancy, who has been here since 2013. And we're going to talk a little bit about some golf as well. The analogies give golf a lifeblood that just goes on and on and on. And Nick, you made a big decision to move here in 2017. You bought a home that was built in the 40s, I believe.
39, I think, the original section, I think, was actually 39. And then at some point there's been a couple of restorations even before the one that we did in 2017.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But you didn't just do a restoration.
No. So let's put it this way. I think it was around the same time that we did our first show in 2017. It was
That's
that
right.
summer.
That was in June.
That I met my neighbor, and I can't remember his exact rank. I want lieutenant corporal, maybe, I don't know. But the first time I met him was around that same time, and I was standing in the middle of what was the home at Daffodil. There was no roof on the home, not just no ceiling, but no roof. All we had was 4 walls. So he walks up and he kind of looks around and he asked me my name, and he kind of looked up where there's supposed to be a ceiling or a roof, and he said, "Well, and if I get this wrong, forgive me," but he said, I'm Lieutenant Corporal Peter Benson. He said, "Nick, I've seen places in Fallujah that look better than this." So it was more than a restoration. Yes.
You basically built a new home, but you kept the exterior frame, or at least some of it, intact.
We literally and there's pictures on Facebook. And that's a whole other story in itself. But I started a Facebook account for the first time in my life. Here we are, 2023. So talk about transitions, but and I put the sequence of the before, the during, and the after, and it shows the picture of basically literally 4 walls.
Yeah.
That's it. There was no studs. We took out all the wood, all the wiring, just 4 walls.
Tell me about the motivation for moving here and your career at the time that you purchased Daffodil and what you did to it, because what you did was you made a commitment to creating a forever home with the idea also, I have a feeling, that your career was on a forever career path.
Yeah. I moved here, and we talked about this in the last radio show.
Right.
I don't know. This is a mystique about this place.
Yes.
It's just different. So, I love golf, and that was probably what brought me here. But when we came here, it just felt like this was the right place. And for what I was doing, geographically, it was positioned perfectly as well, because I was in sales, and I was in sales management at the time, and I had the Carolinas.
What industry?
Flooring.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the floor covering industry. And so, yes, we did build a forever home. I mean, the thought was in my mind, in the back of my mind, if this doesn't work out in terms of my career or whatever, you're kind of stuck here, which is, I mean, there is an industry and business in the Moore County area, but not like Raleigh or Charlotte. So I definitely thought about that. But, I mean, I can be at RDU in 50 minutes, So when I grew up in Atlanta, I mean, I was probably 20 miles from Atlanta Hartsfield, and it was well over an hour, So I'm 55 miles from RDU now, and I can get there in 50 minutes.
That's right.
I mean, so.
I remember meeting you, and you were dressed very corporately, and I say that because people in this area dress very casually, and I said, oh my gosh, he's coming here from an urban area, and you are on a career path that I don't think you anticipated switching gears midlife.
Yeah. So we bought the home in 2017. We were 2 closings, right? It was so we closed on the purchase sale from the people that you were listing it from in 2017.
Right.
And then we moved in Father's Day. I remember it was Father's Day, June the following year, because I remember literally I was like, I don't know if we had a CO. I mean, or I don't know if I should say that, but
that's okay.
But anyways, I was just ready to move in. So that was 2018, and then in 2019, on my birthday, my 40th, I turned 40. I joined Pine Needles, and they had a deal. They had a deal there that was actually at the time it was, I think, under 40. Like and I didn't read that part. I just saw under 40. Well, that's under 40, not 40. So, but anyways, they honored that for me.
That's great. And
honestly, I mean, aside from my wedding, my wedding day, it was probably the proudest day of my life, because I mean, seriously, I never really thought that I would have a home that we had built. I really didn't. I never thought that I would be a member of a club like Pine Needles, Mid Pines. I just, that was never dreamed that far.
For people who don't know, your home is 2 pitching wedges.
It is. I tell people it's a 9
away from the 18th hole at Pine Needles. You walk over there all the time. It's that close.
Absolutely.
You were right in the heart of it.
Yeah. So things were going good. That was 2019, and then like I said, things were going great, and then 2021 came, and let's just say I got myself in a situation that I had never been in before. I wasn't familiar with it, and I didn't handle it very well. At least I could have handled it more professionally, more tactfully, and one thing led to another, and I was terminated. So I'll just leave it at that. But it was devastating. It was truly devastating. So, I lost my swing. You know, and I knew that I really couldn't allow that moment to kind of define me.
Right.
But when you, in terms of golf, when you, let's say you find yourself there where you can't hit the ball, for a golfer, especially professional. I mean, I'm not a professional golfer, but a professional. We've got one here today. But a professional golfer. I mean, it's terrifying. You think of like Jordan Spieth on the 12th there on Sunday, and of course the guy from Australia, Greg Norman. He's notorious for that. But it can be you can find yourself in what really can only be described as a death spiral, where you just, and that kind of happened for me in terms of trying to find a job. And really the job market, it was after COVID, but if you remember from 2021 to 2022, the job market was pretty good. I mean,
right.
And me being in sales, that's what you do all day, every day. You interview. So I didn't anticipate, having the struggle that I did finding a job. And so month, and then another month, and then another month, and before you know it, a year. And I'm telling you, I'm looking hard. I could not find a job. So I literally, I lost my swing. So in golf, there's a cure for that. You got to call the doctor. So I mean.
Tyler, I'm sure you have seen people who, when they are confident in playing golf, they don't think they'll ever lose their swing.
Yeah, correct. I think it's ultimately when you're in that position and in that moment, how many times do you hear it? Oh, I'm not thinking about anything, or I'm just thinking about the next shot. It's just coming out. It's the same thing as speaking. It's just coming out. You're not thinking about each moment. And when you hit the floor or hit the rock bottom, that's when you start to analyze and overanalyze sometimes. Okay, wait, what do I do in this next step?
Yeah.
This next step in life, this next step in the motion, my setup.
Right.
You find yourself analyzing little pieces and little components, and sometimes you get caught in those and you can't get past it and you can't move forward.
Nick was probably in that year afterwards over-processing, thinking, grinding, and you were probably paralyzed because you weren't just fluid.
Confidence is everything.
Right.
I mean, in sales and in golf.
Right.
Again, here before we leave, we're gonna identify even more parallels. But confidence, like you said, it's everything in the swing, and confidence is everything in sales. So when you get told no, 100 times, interview after interview. I mean, I don't care who you are. You're going to start second guessing yourself. You're going to lose your confidence. So that's what happened. That is what happened.
Yeah. I remember just as far as golf goes, I played golf for many years, and the best round of golf I ever played, I was in the semifinals of a club championship at St. David's up in Valley Forge, and the guy I was playing was quite good. I had shot a 77 in the tournament, and I lost on the 17th hole. But I didn't think at all. All I did was play and grind, and never processed anything in my brain. I wasn't, so it's the same thing in life. And I remember walking off and losing 2-1, but I never felt so good about a round of golf in my life.
And I think when you're focused on the basics, it's all about the basics, the foundation.
Yeah.
And we talk to all of our students and tell them the same thing. Stuff that I've learned from Mrs. Bell's teachings handed down through Bonnie, and now to our generation of golf professionals at Pine Needles. It's so important to go back to the roots and back to the basics, because that's where you can sprout from.
Yep.
So a lot of the things that we work on, so let's say we have some students that come to us and they've lost their swing and they need to find their way out, or they're trying to improve. We always start with the basics. And I remember when I very fortunately came to the Pine Needles team in 2013, I learned in our golf RE schools, schools that Mrs. Bell created many decades ago. We work on GPA, grip, posture, and alignment, which are the three pillars of the swing itself. And so we focus on those basics, and that's the first thing that we go over when we get our groups together. And that's the last thing that we review, because those foundations are so important for us to develop and grow and prosper in our golf game. So what I always encourage folks to do, and you can see it on TV. Now they have these great opportunities live on the range in the majors. Or if you go to an event, for our listening audience, when you go to the Open next year, go to the practice tee and watch what the instructors work on with their players. They're working on very simple things.
Yep.
And something that I might work with Nick on, Jason Day and his instructor might be working on the same thing. It's a little tweak in the grip to get it where his natural position is versus where your natural position might be, or it's posture, just the slightest a couple degrees of more upright posture or a little bit more or less knee flex can make a big difference. Alignment is one of the things that, and that's a great parallel, just in alignment in general. Obviously in life, hey, we've got to figure out especially if we're at a crossroads or we're at a fork, which way are we going to go?
Are you aimed in the right place?
Correct. Yeah. Are you aimed in the right place? And then are you ready to proceed down that path line? And always having an eye on the target. We always talk, and I like to talk to students about being target oriented.
Yep.
So it's the same thing in life.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
If you're out there on the range, don't just be out there. No, you need to be aiming for a flag. Pick a flag and aim for it.
Correct. And the old adage, aim small, miss small, is very true. And it's very true in golf, as we know. We want you to have very finite details that you're looking towards. Yeah. And then in life, you want to have a goal, a plan, and then and aim to that target so that you can ultimately get there. Yeah. And I think those basics in golf obviously are very important for growth and production, but it is a parallel in life too.
You know, my social media feed every morning, I get so many posts on self-help books, and I get an equal number of posts on gadgets and golf gimmicks and things to improve your swing, and everyone says the same thing. The most important aspect of a golf swing, and then you have 8 instructors, and they all say 8 different things, as if the one part is more important than the other 7. And, you know, it gives you a dizzy head. And
putting. Just learn to putt, and you don't have to swing anymore.
They're going to cut us off right here. We're going to come back in the second set, speaking with Nick Marshburn and Tyler Yancy from Pine Needles. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. Speaking with Nick Marshburn and Tyler Yancy of Pine Needles. Nick, when I moved here, I made a career change because I was 23 years doing something and I wasn't passionate about it, and I was nervous, but I made the change. This was not forced on me like it was forced on you. So the dynamics have to be different, and it takes a lot of courage to that year afterwards. You can't imagine sometimes if you're hearing no. You had a family. I didn't have a family. You have 2 young children. Were you thinking of relocating? Were you thinking of switching gears? Did you lose confidence that much that you were like just saying, what am I going to do?
Well, I certainly didn't want to leave.
Okay.
I mean, because if there was one, I shouldn't say one thing, but one of the positive things in my life was 215 Daffodil Road,
right.
Southern Pines, right. 28387. It's just a miracle, really, what happened over there, and I love that place. So, I didn't want to relocate, and so Tyler talked about GPA, which I love that. So it's 3 things. Well, there was really 3 things that helped me, get through my, the challenging times, and that would be, faith, family, and I guess hope, So my faith definitely, number 1, I'd have to say, helped me get through. My wife, it hasn't been easy for her, and I think she's probably grown too throughout all this. But she's been a rock, 100%.
Yep.
And my mom, my dad, my in-laws, I got a great sister, so that family support to allow me to be where I was and not try to intrude, and just to let me get through all this, without adding to,
right.
That's kind of what what helped me get through. And then I would say I relied on things from my past. I led a team and I was responsible for $30 million worth of business annually, and had anywhere from 8 to 12 people that reported me that I was led. And one of the things that I used to preach was, when you wake up and it's not like this for everybody, but in this business, in the business I was in, I used to tell them, look, you're going to get punched in the face every morning when you wake up, and of course that's not necessarily the case, but it can be. So you just need to set those expectations and then get up off the mat, and then you got to do it again and again. And attitude is everything. So Tyler being here is perfect because he's just got that great attitude. No matter what, let's get it done with a smile on our face. Happy warrior. So I thought I had that. Certainly within like my career, my work, but maybe I didn't so much from a home life. Maybe I'm just trying to figure out like what are the things I can learn, from all this. But having that good attitude at home too, is critical. So.
You're like the PGA Tour player who lost his card, and you went overseas to play and work on your game.
Very much.
And come back.
Very much so.
And from the time I met you, when you were in the mode of moving here, and it was an exciting time.
It was.
To the time we met a little over a year ago.
We did.
At my office, we talked.
Yep.
You weren't the same person.
No.
You were. You didn't have that. Focus. You were searching, and we had a good conversation, and you have made some significant changes, since that time.
Well, I did. I took your advice actually, some advice that you gave me that day.
Yeah.
And I went and got my real estate license, which something I feel like I always wanted to do. I mean. It's always been an interest of mine. I mean, it's part of the reasons why I met you and why we decided to do the restoration at Daffodils, because I've just been interested in property and place, So I did. I got my real estate license and I've since joined Keller Williams Pinehurst. It's in Southern Pines, but we call it Keller Williams Pinehurst. So I'm under the watchful eye of Meredith Mucci.
Right.
So she's going to make sure I dot my I's and cross my T's, as I, worked these couple of years as a provisional broker here in North Carolina.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the transition that I've made, and I'm excited. I am excited.
Yeah, it's a great business to be in. It's a business that does require faith and patience, and
I'm ready for things to hurry up. But I know I have no expectations. I know that it's a long process.
If I had to say one thing to a new broker, what's most important is that when you speak to clients, you ask questions, you ask them out of curiosity and not judgment, number one. And number two, you have to work with a servant's heart. If you don't, it will show. Mm-hmm. People are transparent. And people can read between the lines, and you're perceptive enough and sharp enough to pick up on that. And those are the two most important things, because if you're not doing those two things, then you're all about yourself. And in order to be in this business, you have to be about the other. And and you have to have the patience. It takes time.
Well, so I just want to say this to make sure I get it in, before we have to end. But I sincerely thank you very much, because here I am albeit a rookie, but a competing broker and work for a different brokerage, and yet you still allowed me to come on and talk about this, and thank you so much, because not everybody would do that in your position.
The way I see it, all brokers. We don't have to be members of the same company. We're not competitors. We're partners. And if we have an opportunity to work on property together, it doesn't matter which company you're from. You're representing your client, I'm representing mine, and you establish good relationships so that they want to work with you. And you both have to have a win-win strategy to get both the buyer and the seller to the finish line. without ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without making the other broker feel wrong.
Have you ever seen those shows that are on like Netflix now with what is it, like Selling Sunset, or I mean it's nothing like what you're describing right here.
Oh my gosh.
They're dog eat dog,
So the only thing I can tell you is when you make a change midlife, you have to have a big picture view and a long-term view, because when you look back, you want to be able to say, I wish I had done it sooner. And once you get to that point, there's a freedom to it. And
I'm looking for that. Yes, I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah, and did your year of indecision and question affect your golf game? Did you play as much? You probably not.
That question, I get it all the time. Because people know once they find out where I live, or if they see me on the range, and then I tell them, I live, one street over. And it's really relative. It goes back to one of the reasons why I moved here. Because do I play more golf than most? Probably. But that's because where I live, while most people are doing their afternoon or evening walk, they're walking their dog, guess what I'm doing? I'm walking. But I'm walking on the golf course.
Right.
And I might play 6 holes. I might play 4. I might play 8 or 9. So do I play more than most? Yeah, but that's I might go, that takes an hour and a half, and I do that maybe 3 times a week. So that never really slowed down that much. If it affected me in any ways, I leading up to this 2021 I lost my golf swing. I had 2 lessons with Tyler back in, I think it was 2021. I think it was in January, and I think we had another one in kind of the spring. It's about time for another one. But he helped me. He helped me find my swing. He did. But I had lost my swing.
Did he lose his confidence?
I think that those go hand in hand. I think that when it's kind of, you mentioned also like, all right, frustration maybe in professional world trickling into home. It's the same thing as being frustrated in some aspect of life can easily transition into your golf game. And we talk about it, you hear it all the time. Oh, the space between the ears is so important, and it's true. And I think you have to, in life and in golf, especially in golf, you have to have confidence and say, I can. We talk to our students a lot about, you can do this, I'm going to do this, instead of don't do this and I can't do that. You have to talk yourself into doing the right things.
Was he a hard nut to crack? Was he, number one, was he impatient?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And number 2, was he extra hard on himself, which would prevent him from hearing what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, both things, and I can answer them quickly. Yeah. And I think that's probably, and Nick would be able to attest to this, that's where your golf game can spiral down quickly.
Yep.
But you can also go unconscious and play very well because you're into it. You're very in tune with yourself. And I think that those are things, the poles there, if you can bridge them and really get back, focus on the basics, step back, tell yourself what you can do, what you are going to do.
Right.
That's what allows you to be a better player.
Right.
So one of the first things I've learned, and I'm about a month in, but every good realtor has a vendor list, right? Like a preferred, if you need paint, well, in Moore County, you need to have a golf pro on the vendor list, right? So I mean, I've got a guy, if anybody needs any help, is go see Tyler. But he's very busy, but there's a lot of great pros, there. But Tyler is definitely going to go on my vendor list as golf pro.
All right. We had Sally Austin and Donna Andrews on last year on the show, and along with Tyler, there's an impressive group of people at Pine Needles who can help you. We're going to come back in the third set, and we'll segue a little bit because I want to ask you some questions just about your business, and we need some golf tips. Everyone needs golf tips.
Yeah.
Everyone needs life tips.
Yeah.
This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final set of All Things Moore County. Tyler, Nick and I both moved to this area for similar reasons. Even though we got here on different paths, we wanted to live in an area where we could enjoy our work and our golf. And there's no better place that I can think of to do that. And when I made that move here, it was a lifestyle move. And I said, come what may. So you are on the golf side of this equation. Nick is on we're on the life side of this equation. But as a golf professional, you know that expression, you have to speak to other people's listening? Mm-hmm. Okay, he's smiling.
Absolutely.
Because how can you communicate with somebody if they're not, if you're not in tune with them?
Sure.
And you have to size them up, boom, right away.
Sure. Yeah, I think that there is an art form to it.
Right.
Whether it's giving a lesson or whether it's just having that interaction at the counter. You have to make it someone else's idea in order to get them to believe in what you're saying. I'm a big believer in that.
Right.
You have to be able to quickly maybe ask a question or two. We do a great job at the club of asking, Bill, where are you from? Okay, and from there we can now have a conversation that relates to you, that's going to allow you to process the information that we're trying to give you, whether it's metrics on something or whether it's just a feeling. When we find the way to relate, oftentimes we say, well, what's your favorite sport?
Yeah.
Whether you played it or not, what's your favorite sport? And
Right.
then we can relate what we're trying to get you to do.
Right.
And that's how you can get folks and students to buy in quickly into what needs to happen and changes to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you first met Nick,
Mm-hmm.
You had that conversation with him as well, and you had to figure out what would be the best way to communicate. But as a result, I sense there's a bond
Mm-hmm.
between the two of you and an understanding. So a golf pro is also a doctor, a behaviorist,
Mm-hmm.
Psychologist, and a motivator.
Yep.
And you have to get them established. You mentioned the GPA.
Yeah.
GP.
GPA. Yep.
GPA.
Yep. Grip posture alignment. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And but there are probably a ton of things you would love to tell golfers if you had 10 minutes and you were speaking to a crowd of 100 people, and if the title of the talk was, these are the 3 things everybody needs to do, what would they be?
Yeah, certainly. So one of the most important things to remember is what can your brain process to make your body do in the time that it takes to actually make a motion, okay? So I always like to focus heavily on pre-swing, because you can make pre-swing adjustments because you're not in the motion. When it gets to an in-swing motion, there are a few things that are really important to look out for. Number one is always going to be to finish. You always want to have a nice full finish. We want to rotate our body towards the target. That's going to allow us, even if we mishit it, it's still going to allow us to hit the ball down the line, going back to target oriented.
Yep.
We want to finish towards our target. That's going to allow our ball to travel towards the target. So I would say that's probably one of the most important things.
Finish.
Yeah, a full finish is really going to allow you to obviously hit some great shots, but it's going to allow you to have better misses.
So finish what you start.
Yeah, exactly. Again, another life parallel.
Yeah, there's so many.
I would say another great thing for all of our folks to focus on is being centered. Okay, and so what I mean by that from a golf standpoint is if you look at somebody like I'm looking at Bill right in front of him, when you make a motion, you rotate your body, but you don't have lateral movement away from the target or towards the target. You rotate and stay centered on your axis, which is your spine. Okay, and if you get a chance to watch some of the guys and gals on TV, you'll notice that a lot of times we hear, oh, wow, that looked so effortless.
Right.
Because we're rotating around our center. We're not moving laterally. We're not asking our body to do 2 things at once.
Right.
So balance.
Yeah, balanced and centered. Very, very important. And kind of to piggyback onto that, balance in general. We want to have good balance as we rotate. We want to stay centered in our motion, and we don't want to have too much motion. too many things going on, too many variables, too many results.
Simplified.
Yeah,
things,
correct. Yeah. And then we want to finish full. That's a big key. You can have a great, perfect looking finish, and a lot of other things that happen prior to that, and oftentimes we'll still hit good shots because we've seen it all the way through to the end.
Miss Bell, I was fortunate to take some lessons with her, and I was one of those guys that no matter what I did, it wasn't good enough. And she picked up on that right away. She said to me,
"You're greedy. You get some people get greedy out there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said to me, "Swing the club through the ball. Don't hit it."
It's a golf swing, not a golf hit.
It's a golf swing, not a golf hit.
Yeah, correct.
Isn't that difficult for a lot of people because they get to the top and they just can't wait to bring it down?
Yeah, so one thing that to think of is think about a practice swing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hey, I make this fluid motion that's great, it's graceful, it's beautiful.
Yep.
Because there's no ball.
That's right.
So, and exactly what Mrs. Bell taught, and I learned from folks that she worked with for decades and decades, and we swing the club, the ball gets in the way. And if we think about it that way, that's going to allow us, we take out the clutter of, okay, the club has to be at this angle and it has to hit the ball on the way down. Wait, on the way down, on the way up? Which one is it?
Right.
Where's the ball need to be?
Get a lobotomy.
Yeah. We want to just swing the club freely and naturally.
Right.
I think natural is a great word to think of when you're trying to make a motion. Make it naturally. A lot of our setup techniques, when we start getting into grip, posture, alignment, it's the same thing. We want the three of us in this room are going to have three totally different grips because of the way that our arms naturally hang. We're going to have three different postures because we're built differently.
Right.
And our alignment might be slightly different based on our build, but we have to get back to those basics that are natural for us as individuals, and that allows us to move down the path to greater golf. And the parallel is obviously being centered, finishing what you start. That allows us to move down to the path in life as well.
There's a quote over at Mid Pines from one of the old pros, Julius Burrows. He says, "Swing easy and hit hard." I love that. It's a great saying. And you mentioned earlier about we moved here for the same reasons, and we did.
Yeah.
And so about 3 years into it, Summer, my wife, I remember she was like, "We moved here because of golf, didn't we?" I mean, it finally hit her, and I was like, I smiled and I said, "Honey, if you're a surf bum, you move to Hawaii, the North Shore. If you're a ski bum, you're going to move to like Vail, right? Colorado. And if you're a degenerate like me, and a golfing degenerate, you're going to move to Moore County, North Carolina."
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what we're seeing now. The more people have moved here because the area is so great. Now golf courses have become better. Products have improved. Now more development in the area, and our slice of heaven here is definitely becoming more popular. And it is nice to see, obviously, as kind of folks that have been living here for different periods of time, the quality of golf, but really the quality of life in the area is fantastic, whether you are retiring here or whether you have young kids. The ability to go to the airport, like you said, you're there in an hour. You want to go to the beach, you're there in 2.5. You want to go to the mountains and look at the beautiful fall colors, you're there in 2.5.
Right.
And it truly is a very unique part of the East Coast that, frankly, most places just don't have those attributes in terms of folks looking to relocate or just to move to. It's
still hidden. I mean, I think it's secrets out, like you said, but it got me through this difficult time.
Yeah.
It's a very peaceful place where I live. I mean, it's incredibly peaceful, and
Right.
it definitely got me through a difficult time in life.
Yeah. The trajectory of Pine Needles, Mid Pines, and now the Southern Pines Golf Club, all Donald Ross courses, seems to me, from my vantage point, just to be hitting highs everywhere. You have a full membership right now?
Yeah, we do. And I think to what you just stated, the three properties are so fantastic and so unique.
Right.
Each one is unique in its own way.
Yeah.
Each property in terms of the land is unique. Each golf course is unique. And they are all crafted from Donald Ross in the early 1900s. The Southern Pines property is just fantastic. We just opened an awesome putting course over there, over hills, which is phenomenal. And I think what we're seeing in the area, and obviously at our 3 properties, but also just the area in general, people are able to come and enjoy lots of great golf, not just golf and
it's not just number
downtown
2.
life.
I mean, obviously,
Sure,
it's awesome. The whole place over there at Pinehurst is awesome. But here we are talking about these 3 courses.
Yeah, and I think
can't be overlooked.
Yeah, I think ultimately folks are able now to come to the area, experience great golf, and then now there's this great surrounding downtown life.
Oh, yeah.
Southern Pines is a perfect example.
Right.
There's breweries and great restaurants and great shopping and
a buzz.
So
There's definitely a buzz down there.
It's the total package now. And
the Barstool guys, right? Don't they come to Pine Needles and Mid Pines a lot? I mean,
Barstool was here. It was at Mid Pines over the summer, and I think what we're seeing, the social media component that's now been added over the last handful of years, just in the area in general, is bringing a lot of larger groups, folks that want to travel because they've seen it. They may have seen it on a post, or they may have seen it in some sort of media, and they say, "Wow, that looks awesome." Oh, wait. It's really easy to get there, and I think that's a big part as well.
The value. I mean, the value is. I haven't been all over the world playing golf. I mean, I haven't, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find a membership or just 3 courses packaged together at a better value than Mid Pines, Pine Needles, and Southern Pines golf course. It's just I'm very thankful. I know that.
The other thing that's significant about all 3 courses, they don't have the feel or the look of a factory.
No.
Where you're moving so many people through all the time. It's peaceful, it's civilized, and you can hear yourself think.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes the golf experience so great. We are running out of time, and I'm sorry that we are. But
it's been fun.
Nick, your idea about doing the show and entitling it "Finding Your Swing" was very prophetic. It was great, and I think Tyler, you're part of his journey. I see that too, and so I want to, Tyler, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Truth be told, I told him this about 24 hours ago, so I knew he would kill it.
Nah, happy to be here. Thank you very much.
And Nick, I wish you nothing but the best in your
much,
real
Bill.
estate career.
Really appreciate it.
And you just
means a lot.
You be yourself, and you just work with a servant's heart, and people who get to know you will want to work with you.
Thank you so much.
Which is great. Have a great week, and I probably won't see you guys, but have a great Thanksgiving. We're in that month.
Yep.
It's that time of the year. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week. Thank you.